So for 8.3, as you work through your booklet, okay, make sure you remember to study the terms and look at the examples, okay, for each one. Build your skills, most likely optional for you for this time around. If they're not, you can do your build your skills as usual. But the practice problems are where I want to give you the tips here for your practice problems. So on page 332 is where your practice, your new skills problems summary for this section. For number 1, okay, this one's talking about taxes and payment for a car, okay? So you want to look at page 321 and 322. Those are the pages where you'll have the discussion on that, talking about buying, and there's also an example on page 322 that's very similar to this question. And number 2 is also those, you'll figure out how to do that on those pages. So question number 3, you're going to want to go to page 325 because there's an example. Example number 2 is exactly like this one. So on page 333 for number 3, you're going to want to write down page 325 is the example that mirrors this question. Question number 4, this one is just like example 3 on page 329. So for number 4, you're going to want to write down that, page 329. Again, these are page numbers of the workbook if you're working through the workbook here. Okay, and that's the last question, I believe. Yep, that's the last question on for 8.3. So again, those are your tips and hints. You can check your workbook. There may be a copy of that workbook on your Google Classroom for you to look up as well if you don't have that with you when you're doing these questions.